The GOAT debate is officially under attack. Nick Wright delivered a nuclear statement. LeBron James didn't just challenge Michael Jordan's legacy. He may have created a career so impossible that history will eventually erase the argument entirely.
I'm totally overruling this. Do you think one person would believe, one person who thinks that Jordan is ahead of LeBron would say, oh, he won 4 championships with 4 different teams. Oh, he's number one. That's a fake argument. Nobody would ever give him credit for that. We have had 8 different champions in the last 8 years, okay? And LeBron went to 8 straight finals. Has anybody said, boy, you know what? That getting to 8 straight finals is pretty good. That would be pretty good. No one has said that because they've already decided. There's nobody that's going to be swayed. Anything. They've already decided. They just want to hear your argument so that they can state their argument. That's why this conversation is, that's why the whole thing is ridiculous. If they go 82-0 and they win a championship in the playoffs, nobody who already believes that Jordan ahead of him is going to put Jordan ahead of him. It's a fake thing. It's a fake conversation to say anything different. Next topic.
And my take has simply been that LeBron James, over 23 years, has provided such a long window of elite, top tier, sometimes even best player in the world level play, that if I had LeBron's career and I was a GM, he would give me the best chance to win the most titles, irrespective of surrounding circumstances. And his ability to plug holes, like, oh, I'm a better player than Austin, but I'm going to allow him to take this role because I'm better at this other stuff, and that's what makes our team better. His ability to fit with different types of stars, whether it's a Kyrie or a Dwayne Wade or an Anthony Davis or a Luka Doncic. I just think if I drafted LeBron, he'd give me my best shot to win the most titles over the course of his career. If you had to make LeBron's GOAT case in 60 seconds, what would you say?
Well, I think I probably would say a lot of what you said. I think that's very smart, but so I'll go in a different direction. He is inarguably the best young player ever, the best teenager, the best early 20s. It's inarguably LeBron. He is inarguably the best old guy ever, age 35 and older. Every single year, the best year ever is LeBron. In the middle of that, he had arguably, this is arguable, arguably the greatest 8-year stretch any player's ever had in the history of the league. He arguably has the highest peak of any player ever. The 27-game win streak, should have won Defensive Player of the Year, 1 vote away from being first ever unanimous MVP, being the best offensive and defensive player in the league while almost shooting 60% from the field for a season. And he is just, by eye test and by measurables, the greatest raw athlete the league has ever had at his size, speed, strength. So he's the greatest young player ever, the greatest old player ever, maybe the greatest prime ever, maybe the highest peak ever, did it longer and more than anyone ever. It will be considered laughable when young people are like, wait, people argued about this? I feel very strongly about the GOAT debate. I also actually do believe it is closer than history will remember it. History will look back and say, this is not a question. And there will be the person who will come out the winner, the biggest winner of the reaccounting of it will be Kareem. Once there is nobody benefited more from Jordan being the standard and assumed GOAT than Kobe, because nobody can actually make the argument Kobe Bryant was the greatest player ever or even the second greatest player ever. What they can argue is Kobe came the closest to being Michael. But those are not the same thing. People conflated greatest ever with most like Jordan. So Kobe goes from being the 7th or 8th greatest player ever to in a lot of people's top 3s. Because that was the standard. Jordan was the archetype people thought you had to shoot for. they totally disregarded a player in Kareem who happens to be inarguably the greatest high school player ever, inarguably the greatest college player ever, has more MVPs than anyone ever, up until recently had the most points ever, has the same number of rings as Michael Jordan, and walked into the league as a rookie, was the very best player in the league, and people just pretended he wasn't in the running. He was always in the running, and in my opinion, it would take a career like LeBron's to pass him, and that seemed impossible until we watched it for the last quarter century.
Yeah, most of the old people I talk to, you'll actually hear Kareem's name come up as one of the most disrespected, one of the most overlooked in that debate. Nick, this was incredible. I had a blast. Thank you so much for being so generous with your time. I had a ton of fun talking to you, man.
No, I appreciate it. And I don't know that I've ever said this to someone on the air, so please leave this in. And I didn't plan to say this. You're a tremendous broadcaster. Like, as like a broadcaster, you're really, really, like, just talking to you. I've watched you and like I've consumed you, and I've thought I think you're good. But just like watching you and interacting with you, I'm probably a bit of like a broadcaster snob.
The greatest debate in basketball history may have just entered a new era, because Nick Wright made a statement that instantly divided the NBA world. LeBron James didn't just challenge Michael Jordan's legacy, he created a career so extraordinary that future generations may wonder why this was ever debated. And that statement sounds impossible, because for decades, Michael Jordan has been the ultimate standard. 6 championships, 6 finals victories, a perfect 6-0 record. But Nick Wright believes the biggest mistake in this debate is ignoring what LeBron James has done over an entire career. Because greatness is not only about the highest moments, it is about how long you can stay there. And LeBron has built a level of consistency basketball has never seen. But the biggest problem? Many fans already decided their answer before looking at the evidence. And that is where this debate becomes much more complicated. Nick Wright's most controversial point is simple. If LeBron James won championships with 4 different teams, would the people who believe Jordan is greater suddenly change their minds? His answer? Probably not. Because the argument is no longer just about achievements. It is about protecting a belief. From 2011 to 2018, LeBron reached 8 consecutive NBA Finals. 8 straight years. During that same period, the NBA had 8 different champions in 8 seasons. The league changed. Teams changed. Superstars changed. But LeBron remained the constant. Yet somehow, that achievement rarely receives the same attention as Jordan's championships. And that is why Nick Wright believes this conversation has become almost impossible. Because even if a team went 82-0, won the championship, and created the greatest season ever, some people would still choose Jordan. But if championships alone cannot decide the argument, then the real question becomes, who gives you the best chance to win? Nick Wright's biggest argument for LeBron is not about one ring. It is about adaptability. If you were building a franchise from zero, who gives you the best chance to win championships? His answer is LeBron James. Because LeBron has succeeded in every environment. With Dwayne Wade in Miami, he became a championship-level superstar. With Kyrie Irving in Cleveland, he adjusted his role and delivered the greatest comeback in NBA Finals history. With Anthony Davis in Los Angeles, he continued dominating while sharing the spotlight. Even now, LeBron has shown something rare: the ability to sacrifice personal numbers for team success. A superstar who understands that winning sometimes means changing your role. That basketball intelligence separates him from almost every player before him. But the most unbelievable part of LeBron's story is not just his prime. It is what happened before and after it. LeBron James may have created the greatest career timeline ever.
The greatest teenager basketball has ever seen. The greatest young player of his generation. And possibly the greatest older superstar the NBA has ever witnessed.
At age 35 and beyond, when legends usually decline, LeBron continued playing at an elite level. And in his prime, he produced one of the greatest stretches in NBA history.
A 27-game winning streak. A season where he was considered one of the best offensive and defensive players alive.
A year where he came within one vote of becoming the first unanimous MVP.
A player combining size, speed, strength, and skill in a way basketball had never experienced.
The argument is no longer simply who had the better peak. It becomes who maintained greatness longer than anyone ever has. And if history changes its view of LeBron James,
another legend may finally receive the respect he deserves.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Because Michael Jordan becoming the standard caused many people to forget Kareem's greatness.
6 MVP awards. 6 championships. Decades as the NBA's all-time scoring leader. A player who entered the league and immediately became one of basketball's greatest forces.
For years, Kareem was pushed away from the GOAT conversation.
Until LeBron James arrived. Because maybe only a career this long,
this dominant,
this impossible, could finally challenge the legends before him.
Years from now, younger generations may look back and ask, wait, people actually debated whether LeBron James was one of the greatest ever?
The GOAT debate is not finished.
But LeBron James has already done something nobody can deny. He changed what greatness looks like forever.
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.